Check, check. 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 Green means it's ready to go. Because I have to hear everything with the live feed. And if you have a perfect feed and then somebody I try to make it check.
We welcome you tonight to our council meeting for the city of Covington, September 13th, 2022. And if you can silence your phones or turn them off, we appreciate it. Tonight, we'll go right into roll call, please.
Councilman Lewis.
Here.
Councilman Botsford.
Here.
Councilman Roberts.
Here.
Councilwoman Ludwig.
Here.
Councilman Verrett.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Rowley.
Here. If we can stand for a moment of silence, please. And if we can remember Ralph Metatry Jr. that passed away August 31st, 2022. He was a native and a lifelong resident of Covington, and he will be sadly missed in our community. Would Ms. Pavona lead us in the pledge, please? And to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our appearer tonight. We have Miss Marie Wade, St. Tammany Parish DEPEC Gala. Councilman Lewis, if you want to introduce Miss Marie.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. Yeah, you can come on up, Miss Wade. I met Miss Wade at the St. Tammany Parish DPAC. She's the treasurer for the DPAC, and I'm going to let her take it from here to talk about the gala that's coming up. Thanks.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me. It's a pleasure to come before you today to tell you about a wonderful event that we have coming up November 4th. It is our annual gala where we are honoring Kathleen Babineau-Blanco. She was our first female governor. We do this every year. We have so much fun. We normally concentrate on the eastern side of the parish, and I said, well, let's bring it to the western side because we want all of St. Tammany to participate. Kathleen was all of our governor. The gala will take place November 4th. The theme this year is a 50s sock hop. So come with your best 50s gear on and dance to the DJ all night long. Wonderful food, wonderful networking, and a chance to, like I said, honor Kathleen Babineau-Blanco. It will occur, like I said, November 4th, which is a Friday, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., and it will be held at the Trinity Banquet Hall in Slidell. Questions?
And do we have any guest speakers for that night?
We do have a guest speaker. We have Mr. Jim Craig, who is the director of the MacArthur Justice Center in New Orleans. So he will be gracing us with his presence and a few words of wisdom that night.
So how can we get tickets? Is there tickets on sale?
We do have an Eventbrite link. Maybe Mr. Lewis can tell me how I can get the link to you all.
Absolutely.
But we do have an Eventbrite link. Tickets are $100.
Okay.
Or you can buy a table of 10. And you're welcome to come through, bring whoever you like. It's open to all ages. So come through.
Hey, anything else? Thank you, Ms. Wade. We appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a consent calendar tonight, regular meeting minutes, August 9th, 2022. Also, introduction of item number 2022-0901, an ordinance of the City of Covington declaring the unconstructed extension of Phillip Drive, Section 38, Township 6, South Range 11 East, St. Tammany Parish, abandonment, vacant, closed, and not needed for public purposes, planning case number 220801 Street, renovate. Next, we have introduction item number 2022-0902, an ordinance of the City of Covington adopting the 2023 operating budget and a 5-year capital outlay budget for the years 2023 to 2027 for the City of Covington. Also, introduction, item number 2022-0903, an ordinance of the City of Covington setting the compensation for the mayor of the City of Covington for the year 2023. I need a motion to accept, please.
Motion to accept?
Need a second? Roll call, please.
Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Yes.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes.
Moving on to the regular agenda tonight, items to be voted on. Public hearing action item number 2022-0801, an ordinance of the amendment of the 2022 capital and operating budget. Councilman Smith?
Okay. This came up with discussion with the mayor and his administration, as well as Councilman Verret and some of his constituents. We had a little here at District E meeting, and I thought it was a very valid point. Our city is just booming. I mean, it's moving. And along with that, you've got a lot of new construction. You've got a lot of things at the permit department. We've got a permit guy that does a great job, Chris Brown. But this isn't 2000. This is 2022, and it's more than a one-man job. Now, he does have a great clerk that helps him administratively, but administration agreed or basically said, you know what, we need to create another position. We need help in that department so that we can better serve our city. We've got delays in issuing permits because Mr. Brown is not only issuing permits, he's doing building inspections, he's following up with the permits that are issued to make sure that people are actually following the plans that were approved. And it's tough for one individual to do that on their own. So we feel like this is a very much needed position. It'll make that department a lot more efficient. It will be a lot less frustrating for people trying to get permits, and it'll be a fair system to those that maybe don't abide by the plans that were approved. Now we'll have people actually out there more often inspecting the jobs as they move along. So we had a discussion, I think. I don't think we've got too many questions about that. We had a finance committee meeting on it. It's just something I think is very much needed for our city today. So with that said, take it from there.
Well put. Thank you. Right now, we will open it up for any public comments. Seeing none, hearing none. Council, anything from the council additional? I know Councilman Smith did a good job explaining that. Anything else? Okay, I just need a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Motion to close?
Second?
Second.
I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Yes.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes.
Councilman Lewis? Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, public hearing and action item number 2022-0802, an ordinance of the City of Covington revoking the 7.5-foot servitude on the rear line of lot number 20B, O Landing subdivision, Section B in the City of Covington. Councilman Verret.
As Councilman Rowling alluded to, this revokes a 7.5-foot servitude on the rear line of Lot 20B in Old Covington. This is a housekeeping measure, for lack of a better term. The rest of the servitude line has already been revoked. And so you'll see attached to your packet, Jim O'Bear, there are no utility servitudes. So there's no reason why we shouldn't do this.
Thank you, sir. Anything, administration, any comments on that at this point?
It's a 1960 subdivision, no utilities were ever put in the line. The rest of the servitude in that square is already revoked. Public Works is confirmed in the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll open the public hearing at this point, if there's any public comments. Seeing none, hearing none. I just need a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Motion to close?
Need a second?
Second.
I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
I need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilman Verret.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Rowling.
Yes.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes.
Councilman Botsford.
Yes.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
Thank you. Under new business, resolution number 2022-18, a resolution of the Covington City Council confirming the reappointment of Alva Smith as the District B appointment to the Covington Planning and Zoning Commission. Councilman Boxford.
Yeah, this is just a reappointment. She's actually been on before. Ms. Alva's done a tremendous job. She's really involved in her community. I would highly recommend her, and I wanted to say thank you to her. I don't think she can make it tonight, but, she's volunteering her time to do this, and she's done a fantastic job.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Any public comments on Ms. Smith? Okay, at that point, we just need a motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
I need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Verret.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Rowling.
Yes.
Councilman Lewis. Councilman Botsford.
Yes.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig.
Yes.
Thank you. And Ms. Smith, is she here tonight? Okay, she's not here. Well, congratulations to her. Okay, moving on. Resolution number 2022-19, a resolution of the Covington City Council confirming the reappointment of Bruce Davison as the District D appointment to the Covington Planning and Zoning Commission. Councilwoman Ludwig.
Yeah, this is also just a reappointment. Bruce has served since he took over my position on the commission a few years ago, and he's done a phenomenal job. He's very thorough. He also serves on the tree board. He plans our neighborhood night out against crime, so he's very involved and thorough, and we are happy for him to want to serve totally volunteer, which it's still work. So we appreciate his service to the city.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Okay, I don't think Mr. Davison's here tonight, huh? Anything from the public? Seeing none, hearing none, I would just need a motion to accept, Mr. Davison.
Motion to accept.
I need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Rowling.
Yes.
Councilman Lewis.
Yes.
Councilman Botsford.
Yes.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig.
Yes.
Councilman Verret.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, resolution number 2022-20, a resolution of the Covington City Council to consider waiving the land use permitting requirements for the State of Louisiana Expedited Temporary Housing Assistance Program. Councilman Roberts.
Yes. So anytime you see waiving land use, you get nervous. And so we sat down as a planning and zoning subcommittee, met with some people. This is coming from the state. It's a House Bill, Act number 526, and it mentions that in case of any kind of state of emergency, people will be allowed to put an RV or a FEMA trailer on their property to hook up as their house is being finished or it becomes livable. This does not mean we're going to give land away. Does not mean we're creating FEMA parks. It strictly means we're helping individual people. And it's two options, opt in or opt out. To opt in, it's a 365-day opt-in. You have the leisure to do it again. So this isn't something we'd be stuck with. And there are still things that we can do to make sure that we don't want people to take advantage of it. So if somebody needs the housing, let them stay there, make sure they're okay. And then we move forward with whether or not we need to move people from that spot. So I can lean on Ms. Aaron there if y'all have anything to add.
No, I think you did a great job with that. We have to submit this form back to the St. Tammany Parish Emergency Operations Center by September 26th, which is why we got it on this agenda, and we fit that committee meeting in so quickly, and I appreciate you guys being willing to do that. And again, if you have any other questions, you can direct them to me or to Clarence Poe with St. Tammany Parish Government.
Councilman Boxford?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think you didn't, I don't know if you mentioned it, but it's only for, it's for temporary type housing. They have to fill out a permit every year that their house is there. It's not like they can move the FEMA trailer on there or their RV and just it stays there forever. Every year they have to reapply for this.
We did discuss creating a local, our own FEMA trailer or mobile home or temporary housing permitting process internally. We haven't really discussed those details yet with the permits department, but we do have that opportunity to do that, should we need it.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Smith.
Yeah. I sat in with Clarence Poe, the emergency operator for St. Tammany Parish, and he explained it pretty well. And we had some concerns because, you know, the last thing I want to do is see FEMA trailers throughout the city for numerous years. But when we sat down and studied it, as Erin had mentioned, we're going to have a permit and it'll be a progress report. And I feel like, you know, let's hope we never ever have to use this. You know, this is talking about another disaster of some sort, primarily a hurricane around here, maybe tornadoes, I don't know. But it gives people an opportunity to stay on their property, have a living quarters while they're kind of managing the progress on rebuilding their homes. So we all felt it was pretty much the right thing to do. So with that said, I'm done with that.
Okay. Councilwoman Ludwig.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, that you asked if it was an option, and I would definitely like to have a permitting process for that on the record.
Sorry, my mic wasn't on that one. Anyone from the public? Okay, seeing none, hearing none. I just need a motion to accept, please.
Motion to accept?
I need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Yes.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, resolution number 2022-21, a resolution of the Covington City Council confirming the appointment of Meg Williams as the District B appointment of the Covington Board of Adjustments. Councilman Boxford.
Yes, Mr. DeHemicourt, who lived in Covington Point, moved out of the area. We were sad to lose him. He's been doing the Board of Adjustments for a long time, took it very seriously, did a fantastic job. And then, I was tasked with finding somebody else, and I really thought about it, and I looked hard, and I searched, and I thought Meg Williams. She's a realtor. She knows Covington. She knows it inside and out. She will be able to make decisions based upon her local knowledge and everything. And I think that goes along with Covington and the vibe and everything that's here. And she agreed to do this, and I think that we're very lucky to have her. And she is here tonight.
Absolutely, thank you. Anyone from the public that would talk on behalf of this? Any comments? Seeing none, hearing none. Anyone from the council? I think Councilman Boxford said it greatly. We are very lucky in this community to have a lot of people that want to get involved in these committees. It makes our life easier, there's no doubt about it. So this community is extremely lucky. So that being said, I would like to accept the motion to accept.
Motion to accept.
Williams?
Second.
Yeah. Second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Lewis?
Yes.
Councilman Botsford?
Yes.
Councilman Roberts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ludwig?
Yes.
Councilman Verret?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Rowling?
Yes. And I know Ms. Williams is here, right?
Yes.
Would you like to say a few words?
I'm thrilled to be helping out. I'm excited, and I think I like to bring some insight.
Well, we thank you for serving. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have two items for discussion on our agenda tonight. The first one is Mr. Mark Richards and the St. Paul High School students that are thinking of attending. And just briefly before, I think Mr. Richards has a presentation. Just in briefing, some of the St. Paul students will be giving a presentation to the council about the work they did helping the city maintain the litter boom on a Model Branch. So that being said, we'll go ahead and let you take over. Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Councilwoman and Councilman. My name is Mark Richards. I'm a 20-year resident of Covington. I was teaching at St. Paul's for the last 25 years, retired a year and a half ago. But I'm a board member of Keep Covington Beautiful, and I work a lot with Priscilla Floca. I've been volunteering in the community for well over 25 years. And the students here are a member of the Key Club. We have Davis Pelche, Johnny Palmer, Jack Keller, and Connor Dodson. And they're going to give you the presentation and the background of what we're doing and what this initiative is all about. Thank you.
All right, well, as Mr. Richards just said, we are St. Paul's seniors who have worked on this project for roughly a year now. And we are with the Osprey Initiative, which was given a grant called the Healthy Communities Grant by Keep Covington Beautiful to install this prototype boom in Miles Branch.
Over the course of 5 river cleanups, we have picked up an immense amount of litter from local waterways. Here, you can see one of our latest cleanups. All of the litter shown in this picture is from a single cleanup of Miles Branch. Pictured here is our first cleanup. During this, we picked up multiple full contractor bags of trash out of the Miles Branch. The branch had been neglected to the point where litter was just about clogging the waterways. We were also interviewed by NOLA.net in front of Pineview Middle School near the Miles Branch, who were introducing the river upkeep and maintenance. The cleanup process is difficult, and it would be much more so if we didn't have... I did have 2 slides. The litter booms. These cleanup devices allow us to pick up much more trash than would normally be available to us. And without them, we just couldn't pick up anywhere near as much trash as we do. They are non-invasive and do not affect the environment in any way besides picking up litter. And as you can see, they are an immense help when picking up litter out of the water.
So these are some statistics we've gathered over the 5 cleanups we've done in the last year. And this one is just about the recyclables. And we would like to note the large amount of difference between every other water body in the area and in Miles Branch, where we've had the boom set up for about a year now. The advantage of having that boom on Miles Branch is that it's been able to keep the recyclables, the different plastics, out of other waterways. It's been keeping them out of the Bugafalaya, a much larger river system, and it's just easier to pick it up because of it. And I believe our numbers, especially on this next slide, are going to support that. So the amount of trash we've picked up is over 300 pounds just from the Miles Branch where we've had the boom set up. And even though the Miles Branch, the area that we clean in front of Pineview Middle, is such a smaller area, we've been able to clean up more trash from there than the Bugafalaya, which is a much longer and wider body of water that the Miles Branch is. The Miles Branch is just a smaller creek, whereas the Bugafly is a massive river, and the boom has just enabled us to clean up much more trash than would be previously possible.
So this slide is a pie chart showing our condition breakdown, which Osprey Initiative is one of their statistics that they aid us with. But this is the condition breakdown of all of the trash we actually see in the creeks. Intact being it has recently been littered and thrown into the creek, or it's just a little bit dirty and it's been there for a month, week or 2 maybe. Partially intact is it has started degrading, falling apart, as in styrofoam cups ripping and just things of that nature. And degraded is been there for a very long time and has started degraded as almost you can't recognize what its initial product even was. So from these statistics, we can see that each one is about a third, degraded being a little bit higher than the others. But we can see that this means trash has been here for a very long time and has been almost, not exponential, but has continued to be entered into these creeks, which is why degraded, partially intact, and intact are almost about the same number of trash that are continually flowing into the creek.
This pie chart shows the breakdown of all of the trash that was taken out of the actual river from the river cleanup, and a large portion of it is plastic, styrofoam, and glass, which all happen to float, which is why the booms are very effective at capturing anything that can float and making it a lot easier to pick up, and so it can be recycled, which is very nice. And those three categories, plastic, styrofoam, and glass, happen to make up about 75% of all litter in the waterways. So, yep. And plastic styrofoam, plastic and styrofoam, which is around 70%, actually is mostly, according to this pie chart, it is mostly food. Around 80% of it is food waste, like wrappers, cups, and most of these come from local restaurants like Sonic and Chick-fil-A. Another big source is water bottles, 15% in fact, which comes from grocery stores, like Winn-Dixie, and chip bags and other snack items, which leave plastic wrappers come from gas stations. These could all be traced back to with point tracing, which could help figure out where the sources are, and that could lead to preventative actions to help limit the amount of trash entering the waterways.
In conclusion, these booms that we want to install are non-invasive. They help us capture almost all recyclables in the river, along with a lot of other litter. They will not harm the environment in any way, and they also help us determine sources of litter. Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate it. One thing I want to mention really quick, Miss Priscilla is right against the wall. If you would stand really quick, she's keep Covington beautiful. This is her right here. And we thank you so much for what you do and your volunteers too, to keep the city clean. And we thank you very much to take interest in this, very much so. Yes, sir.
Quick question. Thank you guys for what you all did. Keeping this city clean is one thing, and you know, we're a Three Rivers kind of town, so our waterways are important. Just curious, what was the weirdest thing y'all got out of that?
We have found some really old beer cans, like 1960s.
Well, jeez, that's probably more So real, I mean, that might be collectibles. You don't know?
Unmarked ones too. We found like unmarked glass bottles, which assumedly are really old. Like they've been like dug underneath the ground. Like you can't grab them. They've been completely submerged in the ground. So there's just trash been in there for just hundreds of years.
Exactly. Did you really? They got somebody in here who can repair it for you.
A couple of shopping carts.
Hey, no, all kidding aside, thank you guys for what you did. It's showing some good leadership on your part. Thanks, St. Paul's. Thank you.
Councilman Boxford, you had a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to commend you guys for what you do. I run the trace, and I ride my bike on the trace, and unfortunately, underneath the bridge, we see a lot of debris and trash. And let's face it, that debris that you guys picked out of there came from humans and people throwing it in those little canals, or throwing it out of their cars and trucks, or not even secured it in the back of their trucks and it's flying out. Now, we know there's some stuff that may come out of trash trucks or whatever, but the majority of it, people put it there. And I hope that people watching and, at home and stuff like that, listen to you guys, and then next time they'll think about maybe securing that water bottle or actually throwing it in a recycling bin instead of throwing it into one of our beautiful waterways. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Roberts?
Yeah, real quick. So the process, y'all caught all this trash and then sorted all the trash so that you can get the graphs on there?
Yes, sir.
That's very, very good. And then weigh it all. So like, it's not just clean it up, but it's the fact that you can trace it and track what's going on. So and to see young men doing it in the school level, just thank y'all for that too, because y'all are the future of what we're doing here. So I appreciate y'all just putting that forefront of us. So good job, fellas. Very
Councilman
good.
Barrett.
Let me just say real quick, great job, fantastic job, but also fantastic presentation, because you were able to educate us on how much John's throwing out when he's bicycling. So, but all kidding aside, great job, guys. You should be proud of yourself.
And if you want to see it in person, I had the opportunity to meet Priscilla out there. and it's right across from Pine View Middle, and you can see it really working. And I think that's the amazing thing. I mean, the photos are great, but if you want to really see it, go take a ride out there. It's something to see. But anything else? Okay, well, thank you very much. Great presentation. All right. Our next item for discussion is Patrick Brooks, Councilman Boxford.
Okay, this is about the closure of our trace with the building of the new bridge that's proposed. We're here to listen to our constituents and our people that use the trace. Not only is it a thing for healthy lifestyles and for people to go out there and enjoy it, it's a jewel, right? It's like we are so lucky to have this trace. And there's going to be some great improvements with the tunnel going under to Claiborne Hill. We know the bridge is going to be, present challenges to us, and there'll be closures. The thing is that this is also an economic engine for the city of Covington. So we can't take this lightly. And we're here to listen to you and get ideas from all of you about your opinions as to maybe kind of help us kind of get with the parish and the state and everybody so that we can come together collectively and come up with an idea to circumvent or go around maybe the trace when it's closed. There's ideas of putting some cones out on the weekends type thing, because we know that there's traffic. There's all kinds of different possibilities, right? Just closing it from one date to the next, to me, is a bad option, especially if they're only closing portions of the bridge at night and they're only doing work at night and then not doing work during the day. That's another type of thing. Why can't we be open during the day if they're not doing any work and it doesn't pose any danger? Of course, safety is the most important thing. We want all of us to be safe. We don't want things dropped. We don't want to see people get hurt and things like that. So safety is paramount. But like I said, we're here to be good listeners and invite Mr. Patrick Brooks with Brooks Bike Shop to come up and start this off for us.
Yes, and if you would, state your name and your address for the record, please.
Patrick Brooks, owner of Brooks Bike Shop, 416 East Gibson Street. I'd like to thank the city of Covington for putting this on the agenda. The parish was presented a similar problem 2 years ago with the I-12 situation, and we all know how that has ended up. The trace has been cut in half now for 2 years. If you want to get past I-12, you got to ride your bike out there on Highway 59 and get along. Go around for about a mile. It's not safe. It's not really ideal. We see this problem coming, and we understand DOTD's got to make some progress. Ever since I was a little boy, we've been talking about this new overpass. We all understand that. But we as a community can work around it. I don't see DOTD really making a huge effort to keep the trace open. If we could persuade them to keep it open as long as possible until they absolutely have to tear down the trace, I think that's a huge bonus. As a city, I think we can work on maybe doing a possible detour right there when the trace is coming down Gibson Street. We can take a detour on a Lee Lane, take that left onto the Boston Street Bridge, which I think a lot of us have done if you're a cyclist in Covington before. It's not too hard. It's not ideal for families and elderly people riding the bike, which is a primary rental business for me. So I would like to see if we could upgrade that somehow, maybe with some signage, some paint, and some cement work. I don't think this has to be a $100,000 project, really. We could do it with the resources we have. I just think we need to make it a priority as a city. Let's keep this trace passable throughout the whole project. If they have to close it down, absolutely, for a day or two, that's fine, but we really need to make it priority. Keep the trace passable throughout the project. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for bringing this up on the agenda. I hope you can listen to the rest of the public. Let's get some good ideas, and let's work together as a city to keep it going.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody else from the public that would like to talk on behalf of this? Just state your name and address, please, for the record.
Kyle Boudreaux, 803 East 3rd Avenue, Covington, Louisiana. Longtime local cyclist. A few points that I'd like to make. Number one, I think we should keep the trace open, regardless of barriers that are created. Individuals will find a way to get through it, as seen on the trace at I-12. People have cut the gate. I have not personally gone through that cut gate. I have ridden around it on the highway. It's extremely dangerous, even at early hours in the morning with groups of cyclists with lights flashing. It's still very dangerous. Cars are moving at high rates of speed, entering and exiting the interstate. Anything we can do to preserve this very unique scenario we have where we can utilize off-the-road resources, I think we should maintain at the highest level. Another point which was made in the introduction was that we would like to put a tunnel in. The tunnel that currently is finishing completion at Highway 59 was budgeted and approved in 2014. It's 2022. The tunnel is finally finishing. So even if we have the budget, even if we have the infrastructure planned, does not mean that it won't get engineered out of the plans, and it also doesn't mean that it'll be finished in a timely fashion. So I want that to be a consideration as well. In addition to that, I've had several conversations with individuals from the DOTD, including the mayor, about the intersection at Claiborne Hill. It is not a safe intersection. Even though there are pedestrian and crosswalks, individuals blow through the lights at that intersection. They cannot visualize the lights until they're directly underneath them, especially on the inside lane. Enforcement is not going to change this. We do not have the resources or the manpower to enforce this on a 24/7 basis. So there needs to be a collaboration between the DOTD and the city and the parish to make sure that this is a focal point, even if we can keep the trace open. And I think this should be probably one of the top priorities. And with that, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay, okay. Mr. George, if you can state your name and address for the record.
I'm George. Yeah, okay. I live at 105 Primrose Drive, and I've been told by the CBA I talk too much. So just say thank you, George, and I'll know to quit. I don't have any major plans to present to you. I just want to tell you about a typical Saturday for me. My 3 grandkids come to visit, and it starts out at Brooks Bike Shop. We'll rent a 4-wheeler. I'm the only one doing the pedaling. We'll ride around to Bogfly Park, Chet Atkins Park, to the top of the parking garage, just ride around town, and then stop at Hoodoo Ice Cream, and then we'll take the bridge over the Bogflyer. And the kids love it, and this is a typical Saturday in my life. So I'm just asking you for your help to keep this thing open so I can continue to enjoy Covington. I don't even live in the city of Covington. I just love Covington. So I'm just asking, please help us out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody? Your name and address, sir?
My name is Stuart Eastman, and my address is Maple Street in Abita Springs, where I'm a bicycle activist. And I also come to Covington quite a lot. I'm in the Bulls Misrule. But my main worry is, having heard about all this, is that we'll get cut off. Abita will be cut off by bicycle the way it has been from Mandeville for several years. And we'll be cut off from Covington as well, unless you take actual positive steps to help us. I think maybe one of them would be creating a temporary bike lane on the highway if there's room for one. But maybe marked in any number of ways, but just a temporary bike lane that's actually there so that we're not forced to mix with the traffic any more than necessary. But mainly, I really hope that, as in a beaten, I hope you guys, our neighbors, help keep the communication line and the trace open between us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, I know the council probably has some comments. One thing I just, we appreciate you being here. It helps us out. It really does. And I know with the city and the parish working together, I'm sure something can be figured out. But also, you know, we have a big responsibility for safety of every single resident and anyone that visits our city. So that being said, that's where the challenge is going to be, is the safety, you know, how big of a lane, you know, what does that look like? So that being said, Council, any other comments? Councilman?
Yeah, and I appreciate everybody's concerns. And yeah, the Trace is a wonderful asset for the city, St. Tammany Parish. I think the first thing we need to do is go to our former colleague, who's now a state senator, and I believe he's involved with DOTD and safety issues, and really get a better feel onto how the construction is going to be taking place. Like somebody brought up a valid point, you know, maybe if they're only working at night, which kind of catches me off guard, because I thought they'd be working all day, you know, because you're still going to have the bridge, the old bridge there. I thought it'd be a 24/7 type of job, but maybe we just need to learn a little bit more about the construction schedule and see if there isn't some way to maybe leave the Trace open certain hours, okay? Secondly, talking about getting out on Boston Street, boy, that's a scary thought, okay? When you have to cross the Bogafly River on Boston Street, and again, you're still gonna have the same type of construction there, I would assume, that you're gonna have on the Trace, okay? So really, we're trying to figure out a way now, how do we cross 190, okay? Patrick, it's a lot of things that need to be discussed, but I think somebody ought to get into the loop, maybe sit down, meet at your bicycle shop. I think he's got his office right next door to you, okay? I think Patrick McMath could add a lot to this problem, you know, that we're anticipating. That's my comment.
Good point. Councilman Ludwig.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo George. You know, as most of y'all probably know, I have 2 young daughters. Kyle, I think he left, but his wife is my maid of honor. Our children are friends, and we ride the Trace often together in a family capacity, not the level he does with his riding. But yes, as far as experienced cyclists go, my husband does ride the Trace in the mornings for exercise, and he did the Boston thing just to kind of see. He's like, yeah, it's definitely not safe. I was able to do it. We, with my 7-year-old and my 4-year-old, could certainly not do it. So I think y'all as a community obviously feel strongly enough to come to the meeting and just know that we are part of the community that use the Trace, love the Trace, ride to Oviedo. Where's the gentleman? I don't know where he went. Sorry. Oh, there you are. You're behind there. Yes, Sundays, every Sunday when the weather is nice, we ride to Oviedo. We spend money at the farmer's market, the Oviedo Brew Pub, the brewery, and absolutely, we recognize it's not only a leisure, coming from a cultural arts and events background, but I had pointed out previously that it's how people get to work, and we recognize it's a huge economic driver as well. And people spending money within our city, not just at Patrick's, but at Hoodoo Ice Cream, all of our wonderful shops and restaurants, festivals, all that good stuff. So we certainly recognize it. And I think Aaron may have some insight. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm hoping the administration, I think, may have a little bit of insight with DOTD. No?
Just that we had reached out to our consultant with DOTD experience and asked her what options there were, and we had received a conceptual idea. That was one consideration that I shared with Councilman Botsford. I think that we're still looking at that and considering.
Yeah, they wanted to like construct a sidewalk on the other side. It was over $1 million project and stuff like that. I think there's already an existing sidewalk on the one side. And like, I think it was Rick was saying, Councilman Rick, was that they're gonna, eventually you're gonna be building over the road anyway. So I don't think we need to build one when there's an existing one. But if there's the possibility that we can actually widen it, so where like, you know, Councilwoman Ludwig, she could like go with the Burley or something like that, maybe feel a little safer. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of I don't know the exact measurements. And I know they have like that little yellow median in the middle that really doesn't make any sense because people drive over it anyway. So maybe if we scooch it out a little bit, it might fit, but, you know, that's going to be a DOTD thing and everything like that. So.
Yeah, I just wanted the public to know that we've already had one public safety committee meeting. Patrick Brooks joined us, administration joined us. We looked at the different designs. It's different phases, so it gets complicated when you say, well, they're going to do this because they're going to do this at this stage, they're going to do this at the next stage. For example, the old bridge is a question mark because there's an off-ramp designed for that. That's why it's in public safety, in my opinion. So, plus there's economic considerations. I mean, the closure of the trace affects restaurants, bars, shopping, people. That's an economic consideration. So, with that being said, and seeing the public participation, I think this council should go on record as early as the next council meeting with a resolution to DOTD, asking them on behalf of the council to not close the trace and to make every effort to not close it. Because I do think, in my experience of being on a public body, DOTD is interested in fielding the call, but you really grab their interest when you have a resolution. And we could get Patrick McMath, we could get Mark Wright, and we could get the community involved. But I think this council needs to step up to the plate with a resolution to say, hey, this is an economic engine, this is something that we enjoy, quality of life, and we want you to look at it. My 2 cents.
Good point. Anyone else? Everybody good? Well, we thank the public for coming out. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. State your name and address.
Tim Flannery, Bryce Drive, Covington. And it's just a very short comment, which made me think a little bit about Boston Road. I imagine DOTD is going to make a lot of effort to keep Boston Road underpass open. And so I would imagine if they're going to make a lot of effort with Boston Road, they could make similar efforts with the trace. Just wanted to point it out.
Very good point. Anyone else did I forget? Okay, Council, you good? All right, and I think Councilman Verrett's idea of doing a resolution is right on target, so we probably should look at that for the next meeting. That being said, anybody else from the public? But thank you for coming out. We appreciate your concerns, your information. It does help us again. And again, we have an active community, and we thank you for being here. Thanks. All right. Okay, we're going to go right into comments and reports, and we have District A, Councilman Lewis.
All right, thank you. My first one is the VFW Second Annual Indoor-Outdoor Market. It's going to be held December 3rd at the VFW on Highway 190, 2013 Ronald Reagan Highway. Contact Ms. Tiffany Sipperan at 985-710-5699. My next one is, it's going to be a Stop the Violence and Unity program at Peter Atkins Park. That will be held on September 17th and 18th. And he's currently looking, it's going to be held by Mr. Rob Lowrun. Contact number 504-285-1653. I spoke with him today again, and he told me he's been working with the Covington PD and also spoke with the mayor about it. But he's currently looking for more support for the event, looking for vendors, resource vendors, and business vendors, and anyone with talent that maybe want to come out and perform, act, or sing is welcome to come out, but it's welcome to anybody in the community. Again, his number is 504-285-1653. And then, of course, just to repeat our second annual gala, theme again is the 1950 Stock Hop, November 4th, 2022, 7 p.m. at the Trinity Banquet Hall with our guest speaker, Mr. Jim Craig, who's the director of the MacArthur Justice Center. That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to District B, Councilman Boxford.
All right, so I'm going to do some updates for the food bank. The donations are still way down, so if anybody could please, host a food drive at a business or a neighborhood or anything like that, it would be greatly appreciated. The averages for August, they had 79 households daily, 99 boxes total. And for August 22nd, 1,112 total households to date, and then 1,381 total boxes to date. So their numbers are still up again. They have a new off-site distribution at Midway Church in Folsom, starting the September 7th, which is already passed. So they'll be taking distributions up. They'll be doing distributions, start a distribution in Folsom on the first and the third Wednesday of each month for registered program participants in the Folsom area. Anyone in need of food must register with the program to pick up. Staff updates. Miss Terry Mars. What a phenomenal lady. She's ran the food bank for quite a time. She's going to be stepping down. She'll be sorely missed. However, Yvette Roussel has accepted the position, and she will be moving into Terry's position, although Terry will not be gone. She won't be very far. She can't get away from it. She loves it so much. But Yvette is going to do a fantastic job. I mean, she's another great one. Ginger's moving into Yvette's position. Ginger, another one. She does all these community events, drives and different things like that. She's amazing. Everybody at the food bank is just amazing and all the things that they do. They also have a new employee, Mary Beth Bergeron. She's coming on for the volunteer and food drive programs. Most needed items are still low to no sodium items: oatmeal, canned veggies, like spinach and okra, for the diabetic boxes, canned fruits, and juice, unsweetened cereal, and brown rice. September is Hunger Action Month. We encourage everyone to find ways, like I said, to donate. Black Flower Apparel in downtown Covington is hosting a food drive, and they're offering 15% off purchases. And if you haven't ever visited Black Flower Apparel, I know that's in a different district, but what a great place. They got some really unique items. Their candles there are just like amazing. My wife loves them, and they're great. So Southern Hotel is serving a special orange drink, a Satsuma Cilantro Margarita with tahini rim, and it's with $5 from each drink being donated to the food bank. I tried it, wasn't for me, but my wife loved it. She said it was great, stuff like that. We wanted to go support the food bank, but it's one of those things. Upcoming events to look forward to. They have Ice Night at Jeremiah's Ice, September 8th. That's from 12. Oh, that's already passed. North Shore Food Bank, a portion of your dollars. Everything with Zoomer with the Mayor is September 11th. That's already passed. Yep. That. Well, speaking of moves, we did have a fashion show for the resale shop in Mirror Market. Put on his moves on the catwalk there. He was doing good. And you be too. Other than that, like I said, they have a community health and resource fair September 22nd, 8:30 to 11:30. The Cummington Community Garden, which is at 1250 West 27th Avenue in Covington. They have health screenings, cooking demos, educational activities, gift cards, raffle prizes, giveaways, and more. And other than that, it's just the farmers markets every Wednesday and Saturday. Please come out and support it. Wednesdays at the trailhead, and the Saturdays is over here in the vacant lot next here to the police station. Come out and shop local.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Councilman, District C, I'm sorry, Councilman Roberts.
That's fine. Thank you. So 3 business announcements, and we'll do one little celebration. The first one, and I hope it's not just me. I've noticed more greenways being picked up, so it looks like they're moving a little faster. I know that they were having issues having drivers, and hopefully he's over that hump, because I've seen stuff disappearing faster in District C, so that's great to see. I want to acknowledge Chief Farrell. Since school started, I've seen more of a police presence in that area to control speeding. The chatter is a little lighter these days, and it's great to see those guys helping slow things down out there, so thank you for that. And in Public Works, always, I mean, I could say Public Works every month, but you guys are great. Thank you seriously for everything you do and how fast. I try not to take the credit. Sometimes it gets selfish and like, yeah, that was me, that's right, but it's all you, man. Thank you for doing that. And then September 10th, this past Saturday, I just want to give a shout out. I wish he was here because I put him on the spot. Steve and Michelle put together, I'll never forget, 5K run for the Tunnels of Towers for firefighters that lost their lives in the September 11th, 21 years ago. And so they ended up raising about $10,000 at the trailhead just in running and sponsorships and just people participating. It was just great to see all the firefighters out there. And it's a faceless job. They get in and do what they do when they need to do it. And we don't get to say thank you often enough. So thank him for putting that on. He did a tremendous job. And thank you to all the firefighters out there do what they do.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to Councilwoman Ludwig.
Yes, thank you. A thing that I thought of right after Patrick left, and he's not here anymore, but is there anything we could do regarding like with the budgetary thing coming up, as far as potential, is that something we could look into if we need money? Obviously, we're in the process of the budget now. Maybe that's something we could budget if possible. This is why we need technology upgrades to the council chambers. Got it.
So if a plan is developed with a cost estimate and you want to put it in between introduction and adoption, of course, the council is able to do that.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, I just thought of that after, and I wanted to get it off my head before I forgot. District D, as far as it goes, St. Tammany Health System. We're still waiting for them to replace Melissa officially, so I don't know who to contact to ask them for updates. But I just looked on their website. They are doing their Healthier North Shore Launch Free Cooking Demonstration Series, which starts coming up. So check out their website. I think Chef Dave Salazzo is doing the first one, and that should be really interesting. And then also just to keep a little tidbit that 3 sets of twins leaving St. Tammany NICU on the same day. So that's cute. Anyway, as far as other library stuff goes, just they continue to offer free resources to students as well as a safe haven for kids after school. And in that same vein, we're doing our Oktoberfest Beer Fest weekend, October 14th and 15th. Raises money for the Boys and Girls Club and celebrates all things beer related in Covington. So we look forward to that. You can get your tickets on Oktoberfest.org. And then again, it benefits Boys and Girls Club. We started that in 2017 with Colin Shea's help back there, and we've raised over $50,000. So also, I'm glad to see Joey's husband. He's falling asleep in the back. He had a health incident last week, but I'm so glad to see you. We were so worried about you. So anyway, that's it for District D.
And it's hard to believe October's right around the corner. This is
And
crazy.
the
This
pretty
is
weather
going
is perfect timing with the trees.
Right. Thank you for that. Also, let's move on to District E. Councilmember Wright.
All right, a couple of events I want to bring to your attention on behalf of the Covington Heritage Foundation. I wanted to thank each of you for joining. Hadn't received your checks yet, but
I'm already a
I'm
member.
sure it's in the mail. First will be the Whisperings. We're bringing that back. It's a former event and much popular. I think that's correct English. But anyway, it will be a living history tour of Covington Cemetery number 1. It'll be held on October 30th, 2022, this year, with modern day actors portraying historic personages in the cemetery. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But you have to be a member to actually participate. October 30th, it will be the Sunday before Halloween. And you can go to Bon Ton Tix. Well, see, those of us from Cajun land, BONTEMPSTIX.com/events/whisperings.
Maybe you could do a link from CovingtonHeritageFoundation.com.
Well, it's interesting. See, this is going to be good because you just played right into the spider's web. You need to renew or join the CHF in order for this little website to work to your advantage. And that will be www.covingtonheritagefoundation.com/become a member. Or you can click on the nice little picture of me and it'll bring you to ability to do that. Now, History and Holly Home Tour. That is actually where they generate funds for the year. Much popular again as an apt description. A lot of people look forward to it. It's going to be in Old Covington this year. And look, it's quickly, I think, a North Shore tradition at this point. I think we can safely say that. And those tickets are now available. So please go to the same website.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. Councilman at Large Smith, please.
Okay. Fun event, Bluesberry event, Bogafly Parky, October 8th. I knew it was somebody was going to talk about it. I said, I don't have to worry about that, but I got one. Okay. On a more serious note, we had somewhat of an emergency issue on Janky Avenue with a pine tree leaning over. Looked like it was about to fall. I sent a snapshot to Mr. Berry over there, and lo and behold, we saw they shut it down this morning, cut it down about, what, 7 o'clock, 7:30, something like that. It was early this morning. Okay, but I'm sure that y'all made them aware of it? Good job. Because it was a definite safety threat. So that was good. I took some of those, I took that ride through the experimental slow you roll stuff, you know, with the pop-up poles and the speed hump and all that. I'm curious as to the feedback that we're getting on that. It's interesting, the little poles are interesting, but I like the speed hump. You know, wish we had a few more of those so that we could, if it shows that it's effective. Hoping you may touch on utility billing maybe. I don't know if you plan on doing it. Good. With that said, I'm done. Thank you.
All right. I really didn't have anything to add tonight. We have a lot going on until Councilman Boxford mentioned at the CBA meeting and mentioned the mayor as being the fashion guru there with his outfit, but he forgot about himself being one of the fashion models. He forgot to mention that from the food bank resale. So I had to mention that, but other than that, I am good.
Wait, I know what we have to mention.
Okay.
Mr. Rao.
We did.
We did?
Yeah.
But you can mention it again.
Oh, at the beginning. Oh,
We have a moment of
okay.
silence,
Okay.
but you can
Oh,
mention
my moment
anything
of
you like.
silence. Yes. We will miss him. He was
Yes,
a
very
Covington
much so.
great. And I love that my last memory of him is waving on Mardi Gras Day
Yes.
on top of the red convertible.
Yes,
That was-
indeed.
that just-
He had
that's
a
my-
really
my
good
core memory.
time. Thanks for mentioning that, actually. Okay, we're going to move right on to Mayor Mark.
Thank you, Councilman Rowling. As far as a few more events that we kept, I mean, you guys know September, October rolls around. I'm not even going to do October. This Friday evening, we have Sunset at the Landing. Tuesday of next week, September 20th, the City Blood Drive. On Saturday, the 24th, Keep Covington Beautiful and the Covington Rotary Club will team up for the Bogafalaya River Sweep, which the boys from St. Paul's often come out and help with also. So for anybody who likes kayaking and getting out on the river with a little net and scooping up, that's going to be on Saturday, the 24th. Rockin' the Rails kicks off on the last Thursday of the month, the 29th. The first concert will be at Peter Atkins Park, and it'll be Rockin' Dootsy at Peter Atkins Park. So that's a pretty big name act for coming into Covington. We're looking forward to that. And then it'll be every Thursday after that at the Trailhead. The final Friday, Columbia Street Block Party, and also on the 30th will be the beginning of the St. Tammany Parish Fair. And if you've never been out to the fair and seen the actual livestock shows and the garden clubs and those kind of things, it's really interesting. I will mention on October 1st, the Covington Concert Band will be presenting a concert called Autumn Dreams. It'll be they'll be representing the city of Covington at the Castine Center in Mandeville, and that concert is free. So we're happy to have that outreach. And then I will just sum that up by saying that in October we have 21 events in 30 days. So it's a wonderful time to be living in one of the coolest cities in the Northern Hemisphere. And I would suggest that if you don't have one, that you go by one of our stores and you'll see those little green boxes at the Farmers Market, St. John's Coffee, Downtown Drugs, Aquista Paces, and you pick up the newsletter because page 3 is that calendar of events. So really nice reference item. Each month I come before the council and we talk about all the wonderful things going on in the city, and we talk about how great things are here. But it's not always that case, and there are certain challenges that we face, and there are certain mistakes that we make. Regarding challenges, I will share with you that since I became mayor, when I became mayor, our code enforcement officer was part-time, which was a real challenge for the city. We consolidated a couple of part-time positions and created a full-time position, and we were able to bring Wayne Mayberry back to the city. Worked out really, really well when Wayne came back to us a while back, and he was investigating every code enforcement case that was brought to us. He became proactive. We were making progress, taking down some of the abandoned homes around the area, doing really well. And then, unfortunately, in June of
21, Wayne was injured. He hurt his back, tried to work through July, was unsuccessful. He took leave for the month of August and the month of September. While on leave, we were handcuffed. We were not able to advertise for a new position. So we went a couple of months with no full-time code enforcement officer. Fire Prevention Chief Joe Ard, who has code enforcement experience, picked up, and we again fell back to being simply reactionary. Not a good place for us to be. He has his full-time responsibilities, plus he took that on. And then once Wayne officially retired, we were able to advertise, and very fortunate to hire Mr. Dennis Hickey from the parish. Dennis is a former police officer in the city of Boston. He worked for the parish for 9 years as code enforcement, and he's also a deacon at St. Anselm's Church. So he had all the characteristics you were looking for in code enforcement and was doing a really, really nice job for us, having stepped in at a time of the Hurricane Ida recovery. And keep in mind, under our system, code enforcement was also handling every fence permit and every tree permit, which during the Ida recovery was a significant amount of work. Thank you, Councilman Smith, for creating that additional position in permits, because we're going to take fences and trees off of code enforcement, move it to permits now that we have additional personnel there, which will allow code enforcement to focus more on code enforcement. Officer Hickey got us out of the recovery and really started to become more proactive in the spring of this year. We were going after, when you ride around town, you'll still see homes damaged from Katrina. Why is that house still there? There's a long, tedious process we have to go through to get the homeowner to take it down. And lo and behold, in the beginning of August, Dennis Hickey was involved in an automobile accident. And he has not been able to come back to work yet as of this time. And so now we're back to Fire Prevention Officer Joe Ard and Jim O'Berry and Chris Brown tag teaming on a reactionary. It has just been one challenge after another with code enforcement. But I thought it was important that the council know it's not because we just ignore these situations. And there's a due process that the homeowner is allowed, where we have to notify them in writing, bring them to mayor's court, cite them. They have an opportunity to defend themselves. So it's a long process before we can force action. And that is certainly complicated when your full-time position is not being filled. So I wanted to share that with the council and with the public. In September of 2020, the council voted to increase utility rates for the purpose of funding the police department. That has had a tremendous effect on our police department. We went from 13 officers to 26 officers. In that same ordinance, the council called upon the administration to increase the utility rates of the residents according to the Consumer Price Index based on inflation in January of 2022, this past January. So the ordinance was passed in September of 2020, but didn't take effect until 15 or 16 months later. Normally when an ordinance is passed, it takes effect in the next 30 to 60 days. So with that in mind, in extenuating circumstances, Ida recovery, FEMA, filing for FEMA, those type of things, my administration failed to enact that CPI increase in January of this year. And that is ultimately my responsibility. We should have done that. We didn't do it. It was there by ordinance, and we have rectified it now. It will be put in place on the next bill. But I wanted the council to know, and I wanted the residents to know that that was my responsibility, and it did not happen. And I apologize to the council for not enacting that increase when it was supposed to take place. And I will also address the delineators and I use the term delineator to refer to those little orange vertical poles that we placed in the center of the road near two not dangerous intersections, but bothersome intersections. One of those is the corner of Vermont and 20th, and the other one is the corner of 17th and Polk. Intersections where we have problems with people speeding and people running stop signs. When I was campaigning, and since I've been mayor, probably the most often repeated complaint I get throughout the city is speeding. everywhere, everyone thinks it's their street in their neighborhood, but it's really across. It's just incredible how much perception we have of speeding. And so the question comes to me, Mayor, can't you put in a four-way stop, put in another stop sign, put in another stop sign? So I did the research, and federal guidelines specifically state, do not use stop signs to slow down speeding. They don't work. The studies show they don't work, and if putting up stop signs stops speeding, the city of Covington would not have a speeding problem, because we certainly have enough stop signs. And also the psychology of it is the chronic speeders, the one who they don't care they don't care what the speed limit is, tend to roll through the stop signs anyway. So it's actually a double whammy. You pull up to a stop sign, you think someone's going to stop, but they're going through it regardless. So what were we to do? And I really didn't have an idea until a few months ago. One of our residents, Michael Rogers, sent me a link to a YouTube video. It's about 11 minutes long. That goes into the psychology of speeding, and it goes into how Europe handles their speeding. And I watched it, and it planted a seed in my mind. And basically what it comes down to is recognizing that driving is a subconscious act, that we don't really sit there and think, oh, I'm driving. And that people who speed will tend to go the speed that they feel safe at. Not the speed that you, the pedestrian, feels safe at, not the speed that a parent having a child playing in the front yard feels safe at, but the speed that they feel safe at. So in Europe, they'll have a rural road going into a village, and the driver can be traveling at 75, 80 kilometers an hour. But as you enter the village, the road narrows, flowers pop up in the center of the road, it jogs a little bit. You have to slow down. You cannot continue at that speed. And so the idea of having something there that snaps the driver out of subconsciousness and makes them pay attention. Now, the second part to this is when I came into office, is I asked about speed bumps. And you experienced the speed hump, or now we use the term speed table. And we do that, you hear us say speed table, to differentiate that from a speed bump like most of us grew up with, which is just kind of a lump. And if we remember the ones in Beauchene in the 1980s, they would break your axle off. So this has a slight incline, it's flat on the top, and a slight decline, so you can actually drive over it comfortably at 20 or 25 miles an hour. But at 30 or 35, it's going to be unpleasant. So it's different from the traditional speed bump, and it's called a speed table. So I came into office and I said, why can't we put speed bumps? And I was told, well, our emergency vehicles, fire trucks, and ambulances have trouble with speed bumps. I'm like, okay, I get that, I hear you, I guess that's the answer. Last summer, I went to visit my grandchildren in Atlanta, and when I came home, I asked at the staff meeting, now tell me again why we can't. They said, well, the fire trucks and the ambulances can't. I said, well, I'm going to tell you, Atlanta has fire trucks, and they have ambulances, and they have speed bumps, or humps, or tables, as it turned out. And so staff did the research, and we were moving in on this just before Ida hit. That we were looking, and we had figured out if we do a certain incline, table it off, fire can get over it comfortably. And we're going to send all our firemen are going to go experience the one on New Hampshire to get a feel for where it's at and what it's like to drive over it, and how that will affect their their responses. So we have purchased a few of the speed tables, and we have installed one on South New Hampshire. And the whole idea is this is experimental. We want to put it there, sit back, look at it. Does it accomplish what we hope it will, which is slow down the speeding? Do we like it? And is this something that we want in our community? And then if that's the case, and this is the one that we've installed is actually temporary, and the other three that we can install are temporary. We've used our JMAR box to collect data on certain roads that will measure the cars going in both directions and their speeds 24 hours a day. Doing this for a 3 or 4 day period, we can determine that 8th Avenue between the hospital and Janky really, really is a problem. Sometimes people think they have a problem, and when you put the box out there, you find out, well, you do, but you had one really enforceable violation in 3 days. We can't put an officer out here looking for that one car in a 72-hour period. That's not the case with 8th Avenue. It's not the case with Minetry between 15th Avenue and 21st, which for so many years had no houses. So yeah, you could just fly right through there, pretty set, and feel safe. Now we've got driveways going out there, and also we're looking at Orchard Way in Oak Alley. So we've got our eyes on some places that are problematic, where we can put in the speed bumps, speed tables, and then we can sit back and the residents can use that and say, hey, you know what, we're really happy with this, or no, we're not. The delineator really works, the vertical pole really works at that intersection where the mayor is getting harassed by the residents to put a four-way stop. When I know a four-way stop is not going to solve the problem. It's just going to change the problem from speeding to rolling through the stop sign. And so we've located the delineators 12 to 15 feet from the actual street that they cross. And if you're a speeder and you're coming down the middle of the street, in order to speed on our streets, you can't stay in your lane. You need 60 to 70% of the street to feel comfortable. You have to get away from the edge and you get your driver's side tire into the other lane. Well, the delineator forces you to slow down and get into that other lane and to snatch you out of the subconsciousness and causes you to have to think about where you're at and where you're going. The feedback I have gotten, and they've only been out since Friday, so we really don't have a lot of feedback. We have had 6 requests for delineators to be placed in other areas. I wish they would not have been orange. I wish they would have been that kind of green, that softer green. It's still reflective. You can still see that. And it would be more in keeping with the natural feel of Covington. So if we replace them, they will be in green. One of the requests we received was from Mayor Clay Madden in Mandeville because one of his residents saw it on Facebook and is already requesting the delineator be put by their intersection in Mandeville. The residents that I have heard from immediately around the intersection have been 100% positive. We did have a complaint from one resident who said, it makes me slow down too much. Yeah.
It wasn't a complaint. I just said it's definitely
No, I wasn't talking about you. I wasn't talking about you.
No, mine was I said, please don't put my attention because I'm scared my car can't fit.
I wasn't talking about you, but I love how your face matches your jacket now.
I like to slow down. I was one of the people who requested one.
Yeah, you've actually requested. I didn't even count you. You requested one.
Monroe and 23rd, and that's not by
So
my house.
I think as a community, we need to sit back, observe it, tweak it, and decide. I don't want to add more four-way stops. So. The feedback from the residents, I've driven over. What's that? Well, interesting you mentioned that because as perfect as Public Works is, they do make a mistake now and then, and they accidentally put a delineator in front of Ms. Kay's house instead of the ramp initially. And her report was the delineator was working great. Because driving down the street, you see this pole in the middle of the street. You've got to slow down and go around it.
Because most people have trucks or big SUVs, and it's really tight.
Yes, it is.
But it's a good thing.
Yes,
It's just really
yes.
tight.
So we'll observe it. But if you're living on Vermont and 20th, and where the Covingtons have their grandchildren, the McEvers have their children or child and future child, and you've got the St. Paul's boys getting out of school at 3 o'clock. Coming down Vermont, bypassing Janky, you guys have it out by Kehoe, France. It's just all over the city. Polk and 17th behind Gallagher's is an alternative route to Tyler. And so you've got people speeding through there, and there's people not looking at the stop sign, looking for a place to park. And so we'll sit back and we'll just observe. Okay, thank you. Move the speed tables, the J-More box, or the delineate. The idea behind the speed table we have now is that it is movable, and so if we put it someplace and we like it there, we'll pick it up and we'll put a permanent one there. And then now we don't know what that temporary one's going to look like after 6 months use, but if it's still usable and still functional and safe, then yeah, we could take that, put it somewhere else, rather than going out and building a permanent structure and then 6 months later going, well, we really don't like that. This is, we haven't had them for 200 years. We haven't had the delineators for 200 years. We didn't have stop signs for 150. So we'll put them out there and observe. But yes, to your point, we can actually move the speed table to another location. But prior to that, what we should do is use our data collection device, because that's very helpful to put that out there and measure exactly how many cars we have, because we oftentimes have that speeding perception problem as opposed to real speeding. And what we learn is when the UPS truck goes by you at 25, he's not speeding, but he sure feels intimidating because of that big truck and that loud engine. And 8th Avenue, Orchard Way, the area of New Hampshire where we're at, Minnetree Drive, the places where we have the most complaints about speeding are the places that don't have sidewalks or people don't use sidewalks. And so that's, if you're walking on a sidewalk and somebody passes you at 30 miles an hour, that's fine. But if you're in the street and somebody passes you at 30, that's not fine. And so the box really helps us narrow in on that.
Box.
They don't. You're talking about this little box sitting on the utility pole? Oh, no. They thought, no, that was the particular subdivision that thought we were doing something else with the box. Yeah. But, yeah. Chief Farrell, take note of that. Camouflage the box. Yeah. We're going to put a delineator pole on the other side of the street, and they'll be looking at that. Perfect. And that's it.
Before we wrap up, Mayor, I want to go back one for the, we live in a world that we can blame and point fingers and give excuses and all the things. I just want to respect the fact that you own missing that in January with the utility.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
I completely agree, but the appreciation of it is what it is, and we just move forward and figure out how to do it.
I failed to mention kudos to Councilman Smith, because Councilman Rick Smith is the one who brought it to our attention, and I'm happy he did. I'm very grateful that he did, because had he not, we might have been rolling around to another year going, we haven't done this. So thank you, Councilman
for doing
Smith.
that. Thank you for acknowledging.
Anything else for the mayor? Okay, thank you, Mayor, appreciate it. Nothing? Okay, we good. Administration, we good. Okay, a couple of announcements before we leave. We were presented the 2023 budget. It was introduced tonight, so this is it. So we're gonna be very busy in the next coming month. First, the public's invited to this. There'll be discussions, also questions will be consolidated, and council clerk will consolidate those and give them to the administration. Also, our council members can also send their questions directly to the council clerk, and then she will consolidate that with the list. Then on Tuesday, October 25th, 2022, at 5:30 p.m. in these chambers, the second budget workshop will be here. In attendance will be the council, the administration, department heads, to review prior questions. If we have any additional questions, that will be the time to discuss, to finalize the 2023 budget. Then take note, November 1st, 2022, in these chambers, the 2023 budget will be adopted. And again, all these meetings are open to the public. And the last announcement, our October 2022 meeting of the Covington City Council will be held in these chambers, October 4th, 2022 at 6 p.m. That being said, anyone else? Have a good night, have a good week. This meeting is adjourned.